And let's begin the show with a little music, as we will always begin the show with some global block and occupation freedom. We in here. Occupy the streets, let's occupy the nation, but don't occupy your mind with false occupation. Occupy the positions where the people short, stand with the accused by occupying the court. Occupy all their ways, spaces in between. Occupy the undercover and the overseas. But when occupying ain't enough, we need the next tactic. Combine the both of our families and see what happens. We do it for the people, we do it for the movement. Occupy America, that's what we do.
Occupation, that's what they all yelling, but it's against the nation. Our bankers got me selling our future, our politicians sit back thinking about the next move to scrape the next million on the backs of our children. I won't be telling the story so true that it's never selling. No more lies, I can find time in the minds of my sisters while we strive to survive and realize the lies and pictures of our future life. The dimmer underneath the shadow they cast and leaving us without dinner. While we all gotta be strapped against the war, no relief in sight, that's why we stressing to war. Yo, we bring heat tonight to heal the war, and my suggestion is to heed the call. Occupy government, ain't no either or. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I'm free, not survived by what I have, but what I get to my community and humanity. I'm free, I don't mind identity and really don't care what you think of me. I'm free, living my dreams, going on.
Hey, Anchorage. Good to see you all. Welcome to the show, Tell George Live. Tell George Live every week on Monday at 6 p.m. right here on KONR Out North Radio. It's a call-in show, so let me put the number out there for the hardline call-in. It's 222-1061. That's 222-1061. And today we're going to talk about school renamings. We're going to talk about honoring legacy. We're going to talk a little bit about the celebration of Juneteenth that just passed and just a little reflection on that. But we're also going to talk hopefully about community sports, something I'm real big on and I believe in. Tonight, my son's playing Little League. So after I'm off the air, I'll be going on down to Nunaka Valley. And tonight is practice for Little League, but community sports. And hopefully we'll have a couple of guests on each of these subjects. And then we'll open it up for calls on anything you want to talk about, including if you went to the town hall meeting last week here in Anchorage with the incoming Bronson administration's town hall around homelessness. And what do you think about the plan for a warehouse on Tudor? So we got a lot of things that we can talk about. And let me invite callers, but also let me invite my first guest to call on in. And we're going to talk about the nature of, there's a lot going on in the world, but one of these controversial things that has emerged as a controversy is how we pay tribute, how we honor folks who came before us. I began this program with the land acknowledgement because I recognize that I am on ancestral land of indigenous folk whose stewardship remains. And so you want to give that land acknowledgement. But how do cities, how do communities celebrate the people that pioneered, that blazed the trail, that did things that others didn't do yet? And how do you celebrate that? That's what I want to talk a little bit about that today. And I want to couch this by saying I had a recent conversation at a school board town hall with some folks in the community who are mad about some degrees of the school renamings. And they're mad about a few different things. And so I want to get into some of what people are concerned about. But first, I want to bring on a guest. And so let me I'm working out the technicals, everybody. This is George Martinez. Tell George Live 106.1 on the FM dial. And let me see if I can. Hey, Andrea, are you with me? Oh, what a great signal, too. So, on this conversation about legacy and on this conversation about school renamings, we have 2-for-1 when we're talking with you tonight. Everybody with me is a friend, a sister in the community, Andrea Antoine, and who always contributes to our community, to the cultural element, having a pulse, a finger on the pulse. But I invited Andrea here because of this conversation around school renamings and paying tribute to those who came before us. And in the backdrop of Juneteenth, as we continue to celebrate Black history and Black leadership, this all lands squarely in your world. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on, and just bring us up to speed, and then I'll ask you some questions about how people could get involved. Oh yeah. Well, wow. So everybody, let me check in here. We thank you, Margot, for checking in. We want to make sure we can hear everybody. So let's double that again. Hey, speak up, Andreas, once again. Yeah, I could hear you. I could hear you clear. But let me just repeat a couple of things so folks who are tuning in can understand. What we are hearing now is that the Fairview Elementary has an opportunity to be renamed after the first African American teacher in the school district, is what I heard. And then also the first African American principal in the school district, Atheldra Sampson Davis, who was the principal at Fairview Elementary. That's where we are. Okay, great. And then also, let's see if we plug that in. Speak up again, Andrea. I'm doing a little mic check. Yeah, no, that's really amazing. If you're tuning in on the air 106.1, give a call. Let me hear what your thoughts are around renaming Fairview Elementary School after a historic person in our community who passed away last year due to COVID, and but whose legacy we now want to honor. Who is the first African American principal in the school district and at Fairview Elementary is where they actually were got that first appointment. And then if you're tuning in on Facebook and you're live with us, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what the text sounds like as well. We're trying to work it all out, and then at least I can know better. But if you're listening on the radio, do you got any questions about this? So now, Andrea, I recognize how important it is to celebrate a person like your mother, right? Like I happen to know you, but if I didn't know you, I still understand the legacy of a person like your mother who blazed the trail of as the first one in a time. I mean, today, if you talk to folks from lower 48 and other parts of the country, they still are amazed that there are black folk in Alaska. Right, today.
Yeah. The 1954 earthquake. So, and she obtained her master's in education from the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. And we lived, not only was she the principal, become principal at Fairview, we also lived in the Fairview community for many years and were very active, in the community. So
yes,
all of that is, significant to say that, she is one of many who helped pave the way for, the Anchorage of now and today. And that's why we all have a vested interest in, making Anchorage even better than it is today.
Hey, everybody. I got on the phone with me, Andrea Antoine, whose mother is Dr. Atheldra Sampson Davis. That's right.
Yes.
And who was the first African-American school teacher in the school district here in Anchorage. And then also the first African-American principal who began that principal career at Fairview Elementary. And there's a petition out right now on community radio. I can't advocate for what people could do, but we can encourage people to find out more. And I'm with Andrea Antoine. How can people find out more about this petition? How can they support? How can they support your mother? How can they support Anchorage telling its stories? But and also recognizing that the community council, Fairview Community Council, voted to support with a resolution this renaming. That's really important at a local level. All politics is local, so the community's in. Yeah, I know our community's all on board. I'm down 100%. How can folks get involved, sign the petition? Where's that information?
Well, right now it's currently being circulated on Facebook. I've been, circulating it for a few months to, anyone who's interested, but I can provide, I was just trying to think of another way I could do it. I have the link and I'm going to repost that again. We have several hundred people who have already signed. We appreciate each and every one who already has. Aside from that, another way to support may be to write a letter. Email, letter to Anchorage School Board. And if Miss Bellamy's online, she might be able to give a definitively like where that letter needs to go. But a letter in support, an email in support of the school being renamed, and if they're having I don't know if it's going to be in person, so she can probably speak to that. If it's in person, when the school board reconvenes, the meeting where they vote on this measure, if you can attend or sign up to give a public comment in support of the measure, that would also be helpful as well.
All voices matter, is what you're saying. Lift our voices.
And I just want to say also, George, it's definitely a humbling experience. I mean, obviously you want to have something like, honor like this when the person is living, but my mom was aware of the effort and was very, humbled by that. And I know she would be very pleased, if this goes ahead and goes forward. We're just honored by just the opportunity to even, be on board with this. But there are also, I have to say, there are also many others that paved the way in our city and state as well. And I'd like to see them recognized at some point as well. So I didn't want to not say that, you know what I mean?
That's right.
But I can post the email for the Anchorage School Board, when I get that correct information. I don't know if Ms. Bellamy is on board or not, but if she is, she may be able to speak to that. And, we appreciate any support. Using those methods to either come to the meeting, speak as a public, I think it's public. They give a certain amount of time.
Yeah, the public comments.
Public comment.
Yep.
Or to email or send a letter to the Anchorage School Board, and I will try to post that information on my Facebook page and this Facebook page as well.
Well, if you post it now, we'll share it too. There are a couple questions I put up on. If you're tuning in, I'm on the air. This is George Martinez, Tell George Live, 106.1 here on Out North Radio, KONR. And I'm on the air with Andrea Antoine, whose mother was a historic figure. There's a movement to, let's put it this way. Your mother did work. And now when we reflect, there's a legacy that is a historic legacy. Right, because your mother wasn't moving in that way; she was just living her life, and doing what she did. To your point, investing in the community. I remember when I first times I met your mom. She was like, she looked at both of us and like, y'all in the community, y'all brothers sisters, y'all need to take care of each other out here. And so I'm on the phone with Andrea Antoine. And Andrea's sharing with us, and we'll hopefully have more information about how you could support the renaming of Fairview Elementary. There's a petition. The community council has met about it, and the school board will vote about this. So have your voices heard and get involved in the process. We'll share that information so that folks can get involved and at least learn more about it. But I wanted to ask you a question real fast while I got you on the air, Andrea.
Yes.
There are folks who believe that why not just name put a plaque in the hallway of the school and call it a day, or why not name a part of a wing or the library or some why name the whole school? Why is that what you feel is the way to honor and pay tribute to your mom, to Dr. Davis? Why is that what folks are talking about?
I feel that I'm speaking up for the community.
Yep.
As someone who grew up in this community from the time I was actually 2 years old, and I left and went to Los Angeles and came back, but primarily this is my home. And I think that it's important, as I said, there's others that need to be recognized as well, but I think it's important for the future generation to be able to see the name. It's almost like, when we say Breonna Taylor, say her name.
Yes.
It's important to say their names, because when we don't speak their names, we remain silent,
right,
in my opinion. And so having a person's name on especially having their name on a building or a school or, or something like that they were actually lived in that community and
right,
were
and connected to, right.
Important. I think that's very important. So yes, you can put a name on a plaque, but would it be seen? And also, would it be talked about? Would it be taught to the kids?
Right.
It's future generations that need to know who my mom was, who other people in the community that were, trailblazers were. Because if we don't know, our history, how can we know our future?
Right.
So
right. That's the legacy to pass on.
The quick answer is to pass it on to future generations, and it needs to be visible. We need to not be silent, but we need to speak up and let our voices be heard. So that's why.
No, I think that's a compelling reason. And I bring that up because again, at this school board meeting that I visited, there were people who were mad at things that they use big names, these theories, and they have names, and there are some
Right.
folks who see a plot to undermine what they would call standard American history by renaming things, and so there's this kind of weird tension sometimes between the honoring of the current history, the reflection of the people in the current community, and some of the things that are kind of older and what would be called established landmarks, right? And so there was some controversy around the East High School, so these particular group of people were mad at a whole lot of stuff, but they talked about renaming schools as some ploy to undermine the history that they know to be true, which in many ways had a lot of erasure of people of color, to be honest. And but my argument was that communities reflect those who came through them, and they have they have the ability to be a part of a process, public processes, to do to make these requests, to mobilize the community, and then to see what actually happens. And so you're well within the rights as both process of a person in the public, but then again as a person who's carrying the legacy of your mother and what she meant to your point, the future generations who are going to come behind her and see that the name of the school and tell them that they can do it too, and it's their city.
Right. I mean, I think that our kids need to see people that look like them, you know, all colors, you know, except colors and hues, you know, that I think that Anchorage needs to do more in terms of, what's the word? Not securing, but, you know, keeping the legacies alive. I mean, as you walk around Anchorage or look around Anchorage, there's not a whole lot named for any person of color, really. I mean, there's Willard Bowman Elementary School. That's one school, as far as I know. And recently, of course, Senator Betty Davis East High School. But prior to that, there's very few, you know, landmarks, if you will, that even, you know, address the historical significance and contributions that African Americans made to this city and state. So this is just the beginning.
Right.
This is just,
you know, and even on, and I would say even on top of that, Andrea, you see, we started the program with the land acknowledgement, because as we walk around Anchorage, it's hard to tell that this is indigenous homeland, because of the lack of the naming, the lack of place naming, and that relevant cultural identity in the city. We got a quick question on the line from Deshanna York is tuning in with us. Hey, Deshanna. And I know my wife is tuning in as well. So shout out to Clara and Tomasa, I think, is sitting in the car listening. And if you're tuning in, Clara, feel free to give a call. I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of this. But just curious, here's a question for you, Andrea. Does the Fairview faculty and staff support the renaming? Do you know about the disposition of the folks in the building today and what they feel about this?
To my knowledge, I know that the current principal of Fairview was part of our committee, and she was very much in favor.
Excellent.
As far as I know, she's, you know, what's that word? Canvassed and, you know, spoken to, I'm assuming, her faculty and other people in the neighborhood that she interacts with as well. So she was speaking on behalf of them. And there's other staff that are there now and that formerly were at Fairview that have spoken in favor of it as well.
Well,
so my quick
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, there's real connection to the people that are there. Obviously, connection to the neighborhood.
I was going to say the connection also is to the caller, the person that posed the question. I think it's important that, you know, the person, in this case, my mom, be connected to the community in which we're speaking of. And in that case, we were in that community for many years. She was part of the committee, you know, that helped. We had this is before Fairview had paved streets, you guys. So I remember her and godfather, who was John Parks, fighting hard along with many others to have the streets of Fairview paved. Those were some of the last cities.
You said John Parks was your godfather? Is that what you said?
Yes, I said.
All right, right on. So everybody, if you don't know, John Parks is what we were going to call is basically the father of the people mover.
That's correct.
Right,
That's
the godfather of the people mover, John Parks.
Yes.
And John Parks was basically a collaborator with your mom on community stuff.
With my mom and many others,
Right
Vincent Casey and many others in that community. So I grew up, those are the people that I was surrounded by, strong leaders, you know what I mean? So not only my mom, but I mean, she worked hand in hand with many others. Mother Hawks. I mean, some of those that are on the line may or may not know who I'm talking about, but these are significant historians, as far as I'm concerned, in the community that many don't know about. And that's why it's so important that we establish, different places named after people, so kids know, oh, this was an African American. She was the first teacher. She was the first this, or what have you.
Right.
So that people are aware of the historical significance of many, even the houses in Fairview that people may or may not know about. So this is important. This is a trailblazing effort, and I'm prayerful that we are successful in having it renamed. And looking forward to do a big community event. Going back to my significance of having events in the community, but I do plan on having, prayerfully a big celebration to celebrate, the renaming of Fairview, and I'm hopeful that will occur.
We're going to claim that victory for you. On here on community radio, I'm just encouraging people to be aware and making sure that folks have had an opportunity to be aware. There's a petition out there. We'll share that, a little bit more information. Andrea, thank you for your time, for joining with me this evening, having this conversation, bringing some education and some awareness to our community. That's what this program is all about: people, politics, and progress. And I dare say that when we get that school renamed, or rather when it's renamed, that will be a sign of progress.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, George, for the opportunity.
Absolutely, sister.
And good luck to you. I love this radio show, and I'll be listening in more often. Thank you so much.
Excellent. And let me know what we could talk about too. And hey, everybody, this is George Martinez. Just got off the line with Andrea Antoine, a community organizer, entrepreneur, but a person whose mother was the first African-American school teacher in the ASD in the school district, and the first Black principal in the school district as well, who started that principal career at Fairview Elementary. There's a petition to rename the school district, Fairview Elementary, after her. So that sounds like it's a great thing to find out more about. It's a wonderful sign of progress in our community, and obviously it's on the back of a tragedy, but we just want to honor and recognize that Dr. Eltheldra Sampson Davis. And hey, everybody, this is George Martinez, 106.1 Out North Radio. And a couple of things I wanted to talk about too: the community sports. And if you got any thoughts or reflections on renaming stuff and honoring, I'd love to hear that. What are your thoughts on the homeless strategy that we've been hearing about? And my position: no warehouses. I said that when I ran for mayor. I will continue to amplify that. I believe in a small, scattered site model that has high accountability, and with the focus of pathways of dignity, respect, and independence, with integration, because we want folks to really get back in to our community and everybody be a part of the community where there are opportunities for forward progress. So I got another caller on the line, and let me bring that right on up right now. This is Jen Motika is on the line with me. Hey, Jen, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. So I had some technical difficulties earlier getting the sound through the Facebook, because there's all these little switches that you got to adjust that are not so obvious until you realize you didn't hit them. Right. So that's number one. And how you doing today, Jen?
I'm doing great. It was a beautiful weekend. I was out at Juneteenth at the Northway Mall.
Nice.
What a great community event. The weather today is gorgeous. There's another big community event next weekend with Korean Friendship Day.
Friendship Day is coming up this Saturday.
Yes, Saturday, 11:30 at the Diamond Center parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And just another great opportunity for everyone in the community to come out, learn about culture, food, all the good things. So I'm just really enjoying the weather and
Well, you get out there. You're one of the community folk that have an eye for connecting,
yes,
have a real heart for just making sure that uh, that that there's that people are both connected but learning, right? To sharing and learning. I know there's a strong heart that you have for that. And I'm glad you mentioned the Korean Friendship Day activity, because that's going to be a fun one. And I'll be out there too this Saturday coming up at the Diamond Center Mall. You said from 11. Was that correct?
I believe it's 11:30.
Come at noon and you'll definitely be on
There you
time.
go.
Yeah, you will.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but
The
I
food will
saw
be ready.
and I saw you at Juneteenth. So give a reflection on that if you would. Anybody else that was at Juneteenth, we'd love to hear you. Oh, here, yes. And yes, we're gonna have some callers. If you want to talk a little bit about homeless strategy, and I got a little. I see Leslie Vines on the line. We'd love to hear from you. The number to call here on the radio is 222-1061, 222-1061. And I'll still have technical difficulties getting you on when you call the hard line, but 222-1061 if you'd like to have a chat about any of these issues, including homelessness. And I'd love to hear from you, Leslie, if you're able to get on the line with us. But Jen, tell us a little bit more about just the energy at Juneteenth, what you saw, and then I'd like to talk a little bit about the importance of community, and ask you a little bit more about because you participate in a lot of youth community stuff, and I'd like to
Yes.
focus on that, like community sports, recreation, dance. I think is in your world. So, how Juneteenth? You said it was great. Why?
Well, my day was as a vendor, and of course as a supporter, and as a community member who just really loves the diversity that we have. And showing up, it's raining, it's downpouring, and as an event, planner, I just, your heart just goes, oh man, you want the sunshine. And I'll tell you what, we got set up, and it was so beautiful to see, people helping everyone get their tents up, get things dried off. And I kid you not, the event was supposed to start at 1, and that weather cleared right up, and it ended up being a spectacularly beautiful day.
Yes.
The turnout was phenomenal. We had, of course, the politicians and dignitaries showing up and supporting, which was nice to see. Amazing talent, the entertainment.
I shook a whole lot of hands.
Oh, fantastic. Just really good energy the whole day through. I cannot commend, Jasmine and the whole committee who put Juneteenth together.
Right.
Just a phenomenal event, start to finish. Yeah.
Right. It was a phenomenal event. And yes, Leslie, it was absolutely beautiful weather, beautiful people. And we had Jasmine on last week to talk a little bit about it, invite people out to Juneteenth. And so it was great to see all of that energy. And like we talked about last week, I remember it was just a few years ago, honestly, where we were in the basement of one of the churches, and we were having a conversation around like the restarting of it, what to do, how to start to support and mobilize, and what that vision would look like. And it started off at Fairview Lions Park when we refreshed it as a community, and then it's been building ever since. And this was a great turnout and a good comeback to community event after a year of just tremendous separation.
Yes. And, as someone who does events, attends a lot, plans them, it's interesting to see how everyone's handling the safety and, the comfort levels, making sure everyone feels comfortable being out and about and together again. And I don't think it could go any better. I was at the one in Fairview, and I've been to everyone, since then, and they just get bigger and better. And yeah, it was great. Did my heart well. So I'm hopeful for this weekend for the Korean Friendship Day. Same thing. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some good weather and
we didn't cross fingers last week. We just declared it. So we're going to declare that again. Saturday's going to be awesome.
Yes.
and it's going to be
Yes.
great
Rain or
weather.
shine, we're gonna be there.
Oh, that's true too. But we definitely prefer shine. And so let's just flip the script here.
Yeah.
Parental. I'd love to. I know you're a parent. You got active kids who are involved in stuff, and but let's talk a little bit about community sports, the value of that, what it means to your kids' lives. In a few minutes, we're going to have Jaquez Sconiers calling in on the line with me, and he's the founder of True Game basketball here in Anchorage. He brought up and been focused on working with the young people in our community, tournaments, events, and he just hosted the 3-on-3 basketball tournament at the Solstice activity with the Downtown Partnership this past weekend. So that's really on my mind. My son is at Little League tonight, what's happening with the world of community sports? Are things back to normal on your front? And what does it mean to your family to have access to such programming?
Sure. I can only share, obviously, our family's experience. For us, our kids did virtual school. So, we were tight in our circle in the beginning, and it was hard. You could see the difference in the kids. They're not having outside social connections, and something even more than that was, other adults. I think other adult influence on children is so important. You see kids and they don't always listen to their parents, right? But if another adult comes and tells them how it is, they pay pretty close attention. And so our kids didn't have that right away. And then thank goodness my daughter goes to Underground Dance Company, and I cannot speak highly enough about Gabe
Harvey,
Journey, and all the staff there. The teachers are just phenomenal, and they decided, at first we did the virtual dance lessons, and that there's something with dance, you need other people's energy, and there's a certain vibe that is it's electric with music and people, and so she wasn't super into that, and I could tell, but she adores dance and adores the people at UDC. So when they decided to start doing in person again, I just knew we'll take whatever health precautions we need to, but we will be there, because the socialization and the coaching and interactions with other people, it was like day and night. Her demeanor completely changed. She was happier again, and I was pretty busy towards the end of the beginning of this year. I was helping on a campaign for someone pretty special, and so I was busy, and she started to get some separation anxiety and feel like mom's not around all the time, and so having someplace to go where she could be independent and have her own thing
and still feel safe,
really, for the mental aspect, good for her, so good for her,
yeah. And the physicality, right, the moving around,
getting out of the house,
yes, definitely, absolutely,
important.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's that's something that we want more of. We need to continue to remember that. I mean, just look at this year as a reflection and know how important community recreation is, how important community sports are to all of our kids, and especially the kids that don't have what our children have. Admittedly, you and I, in our own respective walks and our own journeys, have gotten to a place where our families have security and have the ability to make sure our kids have advantages, access, and then a lot of kids that don't. And so it's making sure that our community is connected, making sure that we reduce barriers, and I hope that the some of the political folks and the assembly members are listening. One of the things that I remember saying, and I'll keep that distance that you're putting out so diplomatically, that I remember the wonderful campaign that you worked on, also amplified, which was making sure that we use some of that relief money to support children, youth, and seniors specifically, but adults with community recreation, that we reduce the barriers for those who have been displaced from work, that we take all of that into consideration, the physical and mental wellness of our community by investing in making sure that there aren't fees and permitting barriers for community sports. So
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
shout out. We continue. Yes, Leslie, absolutely, for kids and adults. And if you're a community sport person, shoot us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And Jen, thank you so much for checking in. We launched this show together. You and I, everybody. Jen Motika helped me launch Tell George Live last year during the pandemic as a way to connect our community with good conversation and art, culture, but also reliable information. That was really important to us. And you helped not only launch that, but the wonderful campaign you worked on and I had the privilege of working with you. So very special people indeed. Jen is going to be a regular caller in and a contributor because, again, you're involved in a lot of stuff, whether it's the Chamber of Commerce and the Young Professionals Group, whether it's these community events and you're showing up as a vendor because you're an entrepreneur on your own, or whether it's UDC and other things like that, where we just come out to celebrate the love of community and amplify the success of our kids.
Yes. Thank you so much, George. I appreciate it. And I'm thrilled for you to have, this show and be able to share with everyone, some of the conversations we've had a lot of over the past year. So,
and more to come.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, Anchorage. I'm sure I'll be back on soon.
Oh, yeah, very soon. Everybody, thank you, Jen. That's Jen Motika, everybody. And a community voice, a community let's say an active member of our community, and a person who I respect immensely for what they bring to caring about our city. So thank you, Jen Motika. This is George Martinez, Tell George Live here on Out North Radio, KONR 106.1 on your FM dial. We only got about 15 minutes left of this program. It's every Monday at 6 p.m. from 6 to 7 p.m. And we're broadcasting live, so all the audio of the broadcast will be available later on down the line, and we'll turn it into something. This live cast will only be available for 24 hours, minus that first few minutes of a technical difficulty. So you may only hear me, but not our guest. But shout out anyway for all of our folks online who let me know that's what was going down. And I would love to talk a little bit more community sports. Now, let's see. I've asked Jock to call me, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call Jock and surprise and see if I could get him on. And hopefully there's an expectation that he'll be on the air and won't just be wilding. So let's see if I can get Jock on the line. It's an actual real call with everybody here. All right, everybody. One more ring, and then it's going to go to voicemail, and I don't do that. So I sent the text message. I'll wait for the return phone call. But this is George Martinez on Tell George Live 106.1 Out North Radio. And I'd love to hear if you have any thoughts on community sports. I'd love to hear if you have any thoughts or reflections on the homeless strategies, what you think about it. And I see Leslie Vines was joining with us and has offered a few thoughts, and I'll share them. Let me say them out loud. Consolidated resources with strategically placed substations for a strategy. And I like, again, really scattered site model. I think that speaks to that. Wrapped with housing first, obviously. I think that's really important. But there's a movement afoot and a conversation around a big development in our city. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are about that strategy. If you're tuning in right now, give a call. The number is 222-1061. And I can't guarantee I'm going to get you on the air even if you call in because of my technical insufficiencies with respect to the phone and whatnot. You'd have to be with us to know that story, but I'll save that for another day. But if you call in, I'll try to get you on the line, 222-1061 here on your FM dial. And this is, again, Tell George Live. Let me turn this little groove up while I try to get Jock back on the line. And matter of fact, I think it's time for a musical interlude. And I really want to hear another Global Block song. So let me just go to this tune, and we'll be right back. And I'll try to hope to have Jaquise Coniers on the line, talk a little bit about True Game and community sports.
Yeah, we going block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by city. Yeah, block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by city.
They say we can't be beastin' with flows that got reason. Dumbed down as the season, but we the holders of freedom in the palms of our hands. It's true across lands. You can twinkle your hands or pump your fist in the man's, cause it's the work that we put in. Got the block cooking. Food for our children like we care for our own. Like a panther on a mission, I can speak in the poem. Bum rush Congress by occupying the vote. Give Occupy the Hood awards for rocking the boat. Global Block the awards for maintaining the hope through the dark times. Difficult spots along the road. Time to come back in mind. Let the thoughts
And
explode.
open up horizons, expanding our vision. I walk in real time and live daily our mission. And most of y'all on the sidelines still wishing, but you will have to shoot your shit up and stop bitching, or stay in the old world where the paradigm is shifting. I say a dope line to educate you while you listen. I say rhythm for president, but y'all think I'm tripping. So even while we sipping, I keep provoking and invoking family, hoping that our working will save off calamity. And as the sounds of tragedy gets louder and never present, we bring water to the desert, like in the minds of the masses praying that they get it.
Yeah, we going block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by city. Yeah, block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by yeah. We going block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by city. Yeah, block by block and city by city. Yeah, block by block and city by city.
And I be on the blocks all the time, like a thought in your mind, like freedom ring like a bell when the sun don't shine on the people's mic, getting hype in the moonlight. Police have to make the choice to be with us and unite. We'll stand against the people like they did in Oakland, provoking war scenes in the open against teens, promoting violence and hoping for silence. But the fat lady singing as she's playing
And I've
violence,
been
and
on
our
the streets
voices are the
everywhere, from the
sirens.
park to the square. Learn to master my thoughts and build to prepare. Give my baby a chance to grow up and dance. Got even non-music with the b-boy stand. I give it up for a bona fide MC fan. Americans from the block to the globe are back. Where I am, Brooklyn, be the borough where I is. Hip hop in my veins, it's the life I
Yeah, we
live.
going block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by city. Yeah, block by block and city by city.
All right, everybody.
Block and city by yeah. We going block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by city. Yeah, block by block and city by city. Block by block and city by city.
Now, I really love this song. Block by block, everybody. All right. All right. There you go. A musical interlude. Shout out to my wife, Clara Guerrero Martinez. See Lara for those artists that know her. And she's on the Facebook thread right now. You're more than welcome to call on in. The number is 222-1061. We only got about 9 minutes left, maybe 8.5. So if you got something to say, you want to share a little bit about what's happening with respect to homelessness in our city. What about school renamings? We talked a little bit earlier about renaming of Fairview Elementary, specifically as to pay honor to the first African-American school teacher in the school district who became the first African-American principal in the district who started that career at Fairview Elementary. And hold on, my basketball person just came on, so we're going to get this quick rapid-fire call on in here. Now, you know when you call for Jock, I got you on the air, Jock. I'm going to call you out live for not answering your phone on the first go-round.
I apologize. I'm in the gym with kids. I apologize, guys.
And I know that's true. I know you're in the kid in the gym with kids. And but I want everybody to know that I will call you out though. So just so you know,
Yeah, absolutely. She's my tardiness.
Oh man, good to hear your voice, brother. Real fast, you're in the gym, you're working with kids today. Give us a little flavor of what happened on Saturday. What was the outcome? How did it go? This is the 3-on-3 basketball tournament downtown for the downtown solstice. And tell us a little bit more about what happened on Saturday. How'd it go?
Saturday was amazing. Even with the weather, the weather and whatnot, and the community came out. They stayed. They supported. The sun came out and just blessed the whole day. The kids got a chance to come out and play. We had some adult teams out there. It was just an amazing community event, and they're so happy. They called me today, Downtown Partnership, and they want us to host another event in August, and they're going to shut down between Humpies and Willowa and make it like a festival where they're going to have music and a concert after the basketball tournament. So yes, great opportunity for the community for sure.
Now, in fairness, after I left you on Saturday, I walked around downtown. I walked around. I did a downtown solstice loop before I went over to Juneteenth, and I left the basketball court. Hadn't eaten breakfast yet, so I decided that a good breakfast for me at that point would be Wild Scoops. So I went to get my ice cream. And then I walked around because it's a waffle cone, so it reminds me of breakfast. And then I walked around with my waffle cone and it's really good ice cream, and talked to different people, connected in. But I bumped into the executive director of the Downtown Partnership, Amanda Moser, and I bigged up the basketball. I was like, "Hey, that's going on over there. That's really great. This has been going on for years," and I thanked her for continuing that support. And her eyes lit up. So that's great that they see the value of community sports in engaging downtown. Like how fundamental, when you and I first started having this conversation, it was like, of course we should be doing that.
Right. You know what? It was like, I want to say it was like yesterday, but we were looking outside your window, man. It was awesome the way you spoke to it on Saturday. We were literally looking out your window and imagining that happening.
That's right.
We made it happen. And
that's right.
Like you said, it's been happening the last 4 years. And
how many kids participated this year?
A lot of people see the value in it.
How many kids participated? How many kids and adults signed up to play ball with you on this year?
With 150 people out there.
What? Come on now, everybody. 150 people came down to play ball at the City Hall parking lot as part of this downtown solstice activity hosted by True Game, and which is phenomenal. But yeah, it started off with a vision. We looked out of the window and we're like, why not? And we need to get to that creative space in our city for all the voices that want to see forward progress. Why not do these things that bring community together? Why not play ball downtown? Why not open the parks and the baseball fields for all of our kids? Why not rename the school after the first Did you hear about this? There's a movement to rename Fairview Elementary after the first African-American school teacher in the district, who became the first African-American principal in the district, who started their principal career at Fairview Elementary.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right. So
it's just the opportunities, man, like you said, through sport and through some of the things that laid the groundwork here in the community, and tying that back together is just an awesome thing to do for sure.
Well, you also had an NBA baller out there. Let's keep it real. You had you had Mario Chalmers out there, NBA baller, who's currently a pro baller in the European leagues. And big shout out to Mario. I got a lot of friends that went to overseas, play ball, and did some stints did a little stint in the league and went overseas. So shout out to Mario. But there's a vision that I know that you all connected with about Alaska basketball, the future. What are you trying to accomplish with what you're doing? Why are you in the gym tonight? What is the investment in community sports, basketball for you and our young people about? What is that investment about for you?
The investment for me is just giving back. First, giving back. The Alaska did something dear to my heart. It gave me an opportunity. Gave me a scholarship to come play basketball, get my education. And like I said, it's always been something special here for me. But with our youth now, just giving them an opportunity to come and help navigate their lives and see have them see, even if it's not playing a sport, they're at least going to have those core values, the leadership, the teamwork, that's going to carry them so much further than any sport could. And then in the educational piece, make sure they understand how to become a collegiate athlete or just a college student in general. So me giving back and investing time into the youth, to the kids, it's just going to bring so much value to the state of Alaska. These kids might leave, but they're going to come back and always want to give back, like Barrio Chalmers.
That's right. That's exactly right. Everybody, I'm on the line with say your last name for me. I always say it wrong, I think.
Yeah, no, it's good. Jaquez Sconyers.
Sconyers. Yeah, see, that got a little more flavor to it than I was saying it. I think I Angloed it up, but I apologize, Josh. My brother, I'm on the line with Brother Jaquez from True Game. True Game Basketball, bringing the community sports into downtown programming now, working with the Downtown Partnership. So to bring in that 3-on-3 basketball, I got a great opportunity for us to continue to collaborate. I spoke with Mal Tosi at the Juneteenth about doing something and bringing a little community sports, a little basketball to the east side. And so I'll be following up with you on that. And the more we can amplify it out here, maybe something around National Night Out with APD, well, that'll be great. Quick question: did APD have a team this year? No.
ADP didn't have a team this year. APD, the last, it's funny. Aaron Sharp, he was one of the part of the last team. And when they had their team, they actually won the championship.
I know. That's why I was asking.
Yes, they won the championship about 2 years ago. So they didn't have a team this year, but hopefully this next one we can get them involved for sure.
Well, we're going to continue to work on all of these relationships. I thank you, Jock, for joining in on the line with me. Say goodnight, get back to the gym, keep doing your work with the young folk, and we'll hear from Jock another time. I'm excited for everybody that has called in today. We're at the end of our time now, and but Margot Bellamy has a great point. I'm going to read this, Margot, out loud. Margot Bellamy, the school board president here in Anchorage. Let your voice be heard. Persons who are interested in having or their questions about renaming the school board process, the school process should contact the Anchorage School Board, and the email address is now on the screen. I'll say it out loud. Contact the school board if you had any questions about what's going on with the curriculum, the renaming of the schools, and specifically around renaming of Fairview Elementary. School board at asdk12.org, everybody. This is George Martinez on Tell George Live 1061 Out North Radio, and I'm going to be signing off and switching over now.
This is KONR-LP Anchorage 106.1 FM Out North Radio.
Peace, everybody.